Smart investors know donating appreciated stocks means zero capital gains tax and a full charitable deduction. WMNF turns your smart financial move into powerful community broadcasting. Speak with your advisor today.
Would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a mule? A mule is an animal with long, funny ears, kicks up at anything he hears.
His back is brawny, but his brain is weak. He's just plain stupid with a stubborn streak.
And by the way, if you hate to go to school, you may grow up to be a mule.
Or would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are?
Or would you rather be a pig?
A pig is an animal with dirt on his face. His shoes are a terrible disgrace. He has no manners when he eats his food. He's fat and lazy and extremely rude.
But if you don't care a feather or a fig, you may grow up to be a pig.
Or would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are?
Or would you rather be a fish?
A fish won't do anything but swim in a brook. He can't write his name or read a book. To fool the people is his only thought, and though he's slippery, he still gets caught.
But then if that sort of life is what you wish, you may grow up to be a fish. New kind of jumped up slippery fish, and all the monkeys aren't in the zoo.
Every day you meet quite a few.
So you see, it's all up to you. You can be better than you are. You could be swinging on a star.
Good morning and welcome to Talking Animals. My name's Beverly. I'll be filling in for Duncan today, and also I'll be back next week. Duncan's spending Christmas with his family. Well, we've got a very exciting guest today. Tiffany Neal is in the house. She's a rescue out of Polk County, operator of Tiff's Pack, which is got a nice, healthy social media footprint. So we're going to be talking to Tiff in a few minutes. Right now, we got to get you into this Christmas spirit. This is Guster on WMNF.
Meow, 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 meow,
As I mentioned, we're welcoming Tiffany Neal to WMNF, to Talking Animals. Good morning, Tiffany. Thank you for coming in on Christmas morning. I was honestly surprised that you wanted to come in on a holiday, but I really appreciate that you made the time to come visit us.
I appreciate you inviting me. This is definitely an honor. And, we weren't doing anything. I would tend to the animals. Nothing different. This is a nice invite. So I didn't care if you wanted me to come on Christmas.
Well, we're going to get into a lot of details about what you're doing, but just give us a brief rundown of how you've established yourself as Tiff's Pack and what that means as far as the social media and the implications and how people can find you and find out things that you're doing.
I started with my Instagram page. It actually was the name of my personal dogs. And I want to say in 21, I started fostering for a rescue. After making that Instagram page, I'm not even going to lie, I got another dog to mate because I'm like, oh, my older dog's getting old and da-da-da-da. But a higher power had a different view for me because instead of seeing cutesy little parents of puppies, I saw shelter dogs.
Right.
And it blew my mind. Mind. And so once I started fostering for my, rescue that I was fostering for, I created Tiff's Pack because even though I took on a lot being a first-time foster, because I think I took in, I had 5 dogs on top of the 2 I had. My husband was like, are you crazy? I am, I think.
It's a calling. That's one thing. My good friend Rob and Thanona Sass is the one that directed me to check you out. And we both have to agree that it's kind of a calling. And that it kind of grows from there, I believe. You can kind of get the little hint of something. I feel the same way with me. I mean, with radio, it's like, I don't want to know if I can do this. But I keep getting asked to come back, so
you're doing something right.
I guess so. So you started Tiff's Pack as a nonprofit recently, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I went back and forth with it for about a year after starting fostering. I just felt like I could add something to the rescue community after watching it for the last 2 years before incorporating, and or 3 years. And I started it back in March after finally deciding. So I got frustrated one night, and I'm just like, I can't do this. I think every rescuer goes through that. And it was just really frustrating. And this, you're not going to believe this, but I was like, I can't do this. My family loves what I do, but, it's just kind of me, and I kind of make my kids do it. But, it was just a day I went to work and I came home. It's like pure chaos. And I'm just like, why wasn't this XYZ done? Because I leave a list. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. So January of this year, one of my neighbors left, and they left their dog.
Oh.
My daughter comes, Mom, there's a dog sitting out front of the house. I was like, I don't care, whatever. I'm feeding the cats. And I had just went outside to feed my ferals because I feed them every morning. I didn't see a dog. I probably wasn't even paying attention. But literally, if you look through my blinds, he's sitting across the street, facing my house, and just sitting there staring. It took me about an hour to catch him because I try to gain their trust because you could tell he was tired. I walked the whole neighborhood. Nobody claimed him. And then one of the neighbors that walks his husky every day, he goes, oh, yeah, wait a minute. He lives across the street from me. They moved. And I'm like, I said, okay, I hear you. I know what I got to do. So I started the process in January, and by March, I was incorporated as a 501c.
Okay. What was the dog's name?
We named him Tucson.
So let's credit Tucson for moving the needle a little bit, huh?
He just was like, lady, I don't know you. Don't touch me.
So he was scared.
He was scared.
Yeah.
He was tired, too, because I only caught him because he was sitting there and he just started doing this. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna leash you."
Yeah.
As soon as he started dozing, when he got a good doze, I looped him.
One thing that I've come to understand, and maybe you can explain this a little bit better, because I'm just kind of getting a little drift of how Rescue Me Tampa Bay operates, and that you are affiliated with them, and give listeners a little bit of an outline of what Rescue Tampa Bay is and how you work with them.
So, like I said, when I started fostering, you know, I just started getting a lot of shelter pages of volunteers and, you know, of shelters. So Rescue Me Tampa, I have been following them for about 3 years, but never really interacted like a rescue. But I used to be like, oh my goodness, like why are these animals, you know, why can't they?
Well, what is going on out there that this is happening?
Yes.
I think is what I've thought when I've looked at the page, and honestly, there's only so much I can take because I want to go get them all.
And unfortunately, that's what I've been trying to do. But it is, you know, a joy to know that this one gets to live another day, and that satisfies my heart so much. But I've been following that page for a while. It wasn't until I became a rescue that I did more interacting because I can do more.
Right.
And once I met Ann and spoke to her, she's awesome. You know, she's one of the ones that runs that page, and they just put it out there. They put it out there like, you know, a lot of stuff that they go up for is treatable.
Right.
You know?
So Rescue Me, as I understand, it's a Facebook page.
Yes.
Regional or local to the Tampa Bay area, somewhat regional, Central Florida.
Yeah,
maybe?
I'm about to say they have a lot of followers, and a lot of people that post on there or say they're in the UK or, you know, other places, like, or I'm not from there, I'm in, you know, Pennsylvania or something like that. So you know, they have gotten a widespread, which is great because it gets these dogs seen.
Okay, and you mentioned Ann, they're moderators for the page to kind of weed out inappropriate posts and things like that.
Yes.
Okay, so as far as Rescue Me Tampa Bay goes, can anybody post as long as it's appropriate to what their mission is?
Yeah, I think that anybody can pretty much comment.
Comment,
Yeah,
okay.
they do all the posting, which is kind of the same with my page unless you tag me or something like that.
So as far as one thing I know Rescue Tampa Bay does is post dogs that are on the use list. Do you mind going into that a little bit?
Well, that's what really attracted me once I was a rescue. I just couldn't believe, you know, some of the stuff, but I know it's not anyone's fault but the people in the community who keep allowing these dogs to just be abandoned or, you know, to be surrendered because you can't take care of them anymore, whatever the case may be. But a lot of times it's fear, anxiety, and stress. Humans go through that all the time. We're not getting put down for it.
Right.
You know, and I feel like because people just view them as an animal, that's why they have to go through this. And, you know, it's about space, and I get it, but the community needs to do better. They need to do better by these animals.
Absolutely. And I read talking specifically about Hillsborough County Animal Services. Yeah, we've talked to Scott Trebetowski here on WMNF and the great work he's doing there, but they can't do everything. They can't carry the load of people's irresponsible behavior, neglect. It's an overwhelming situation. I was out there about 3 months ago just to drop off a donation and to walk through the kennels with a friend of mine who wanted to adopt, and she's still in the process of getting there. And that's okay. You know, it's a process, and you want to make sure the animal's right for you and that it's going to work out of there's it's never just 100%, you know, maybe not 100% an easy paved road, but that you're prepared to face the hurdles before you adopt an animal. So we're not faulting anybody for not running to
it's been 26 minutes
to animal services to pick up a dog. But if you are thinking about it, can you say a few words about what somebody that doesn't know what they want to do, but they are maybe feel that little tug to step into your world or Hillsborough County Animal Services as an option?
I say do it, but you have to have that confidence. Confidence goes a long way when you are adopting any animal, but shelter dogs, usually the older they are, they've been through something, So if you have the confidence to, be there the whole way. Like, don't just get them because you're trying to save them off a youth list or, this dog reminds me of my old dog or, this dog is so cute, because every animal is different. So I tell my fosters, I tell them, I need people that are going to work with the animal. I don't give them, my harder cases, of course, because I wouldn't put that on anybody. I take the harder cases because I'm like, you're going to get right. But, people that want to adopt, if they could even do the paw edition that Hillsborough has, or, take them out on the adventure trails.
Yeah.
That gives you a sense of those animals. It shouldn't just be the volunteers going to do that. If a person is interested in, adopting, they should do situations like that. Even with a rescue, maybe go beyond just a meet and greet. Maybe have them, stay a week with you or come visit them often to see how you do with them. So that's how I view it. Just don't jump into it because you want another edition. Plan it out. Make sure that's what you want to do, not just to have another, pup or kid.
Or to relieve your conscience if there's some bad feelings come over you. You don't want to bring an animal into that situation. I do like that you mentioned that I call it the test drive you can do with Hillsborough County. You can take them out for, it's, and I've not done it, so I can't speak to exactly how it works, but basically you're test driving the animal, or you're just giving the animal a break from being in being in the shelter, which they have as far as I know, I've not been to many shelters, but they have a great facility.
Yes, they do.
But it's still an institution. They're still in basically a cage, and they get a break if maybe a few hours a day, but it's not a good situation for any animal, but especially a high energy or a dog that's been somewhat traumatized. So do you want to speak maybe very quickly, lightly on the use list? Is that something that you can talk about? I
know it's a hard position to be in. I think at one point I was going to try to get into the animal control with Polk County, but I was like, when I saw euthanasia, I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to just go ahead and pass and not even try. But unfortunately, like I said, the community has to put if you see something, say something. Like, I had a neighbor when I first moved in 2 years ago where we live at. She had about 5 cats when I first moved there. By the following summer, it was like 20.
Yeah, that happens.
I was like, what do you, I ended up gathering them up, partnering with Melanie Leslie, which is a good supporter of my rescue. She was supporting me before I was a rescue. And that was about 2 years ago. And I was just like, if more people do that, you'd be amazed how many people I hear say, oh, my cousin's neighborhood is overrun with cats, or my sister's neighborhood is overrun with cats. They have stray dogs. Well, why don't y'all do anything?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You kind of, maybe old school way of thinking, animals kind of ran astray or ran amok, but not so much anymore. Usually if a dog's out running around, it's because it got out or something happened to traumatize the animal.
Thank you.
So
that's exactly what I grew up seeing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hey, Chris, your dog's out.
Yeah.
Not nowadays and then they treat them as the problem. One of my neighbors, I was just so shocked at him. He ran out his house. He didn't have a shirt on or nothing, just to chase the cat off his lawn. Oh. And I happened to be in the window, and I was like, oh, my gosh. And he looked at me. I say, yes, you. Oh my gosh, it's a little cat.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to do that every time she comes in your yard? Like, it's not their fault that they're there.
It's absolutely not their fault. And I've talked to someone that was giving Hillsborough County a bit of a hard time for the youthless, but it's like I believe from what I've seen and what I've talked to with Scott and other people at the shelter, they're doing the best they can.
They're doing the best that they can
and
with what they got.
And the services they offer are pretty much amazing. The way they try to help people is amazing. They just had, and I'm sure they do this on a regular basis, but they had the vaccination clinic at HCC in Brandon. Lots of things like that, and it's all available on Hillsborough County's website. Just go to Hillsborough County. I believe it's under pet services or under, I'm sorry, I'm talking without having the exact information. Anyway, Hillsborough County, Florida.gov has all the information that Hillsborough County offers at their pet services center. So real quick, if you want to give another pep talk to people that might be thinking of fostering and how they would maybe step into that world, like go to a rescue site or something like that.
Go to your local rescues to see if they need, rescues always need fosters. That's number one. If you can't foster, maybe volunteer. But fostering is so rewarding because you're actually giving that dog a piece of home. Mm-hmm. They are, able to decompress better. They are able to be around family, get home trained, house trained, because, some pups don't even know how to be on a couch sometimes. But fostering gives more one-on-one, and it's better feedback than just taking them out for a day or, a week. A lot of times it is long-term fostering. But in that time, you're able to know that pup, like, is not what it listed, before he was going to get euthanized or whatever. Or he just needed time to be open, in an open space, because being in a pen, is very stressful. I wouldn't want to be locked in one. But to get them out and fostering for a rescue is awesome, because we are able to get more dogs out. And that is, and kitties, because I'd rescue kitties.
Yeah, we'll talk about the kitties. We need to give the kitty cats equal time. But I think you brought up something that is very subtle but invaluable, is kind of being able to write the review and write the personality outline, the personality description of the pet, and if they do well with kids, or if they want to chase cats, or, things that maybe temperament and behavior control that could be modified versus something that, maybe this animal would be better off in a certain kind of home, or not left alone, at least for long periods of time, or needs a big yard or doesn't need a big yard, and things like that. I know that Hillsborough County has some profile of their dogs, and not so much the cats, but the dogs, of their temperament. But you can't really get a good gauge for that from them being at the actual facility. Yeah. So when a foster gets an animal, I guess it would make sense that they are encouraged to write as much detail about the animal as they can.
Oh yeah, and I love my fosters. They do great with my fosters, and they give me a lot of feedback. I'm able to feel like I'm there with most of them. But it's rewarding, and once they're adopted, it's even more rewarding.
We're talking to Tiffany Neal of Tiff's Pack. We want to give Tiffany as many opportunities as possible to tell people how to find her on social media. So please step right up and toot your own horn a little bit.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook with Tiff's Pack Corp. I am on TikTok at Tiff's Pack, and Instagram Tiff's_Pack. And I think that's all I have, yeah.
Okay. That's, yeah. Tips Pack.
Tips Pack all the way.
On Facebook. I guess if you put that in the search, it'll come up. That's how I found you. So we weren't going to be taking phone calls, but we can text the studio at 813-433-0885, or you can email dj@wmnf.org. We have a question from our buddy Rob. Do you have an idea of how many dogs are saved from the Pet Resource Center daily through people pledging for rescues and dogs going into foster? And how many dogs are pit bulls? Well, I can probably answer that, but go ahead if you have any kind of statistics or information, because some people like that number.
For me, I've only been a rescue partner since September, like mid-September. So I've rescued 18 from the shelter. Of them, I want to say 90% are pit bull or pit bull mixes. They are a very, very overbred breed. And I don't think people realize that, you know, in the wrong hands, those dogs can be, you know, tormented just because of their breed. Like, I think I saw one time someone said, and they were like, all pit bulls need this. And I'm like, this is crazy. But that's what kind of overpopulates the shelter, because people have so much easy access to them.
That's, and, you know, I'm not an expert. I've looked a bit on breed discrimination legislation. Duncan's talked extensively about, in the past, about what, air quote, what is a pit bull? And I'll take this moment to direct listeners to talkinganimals.net, highly searchable site. Any topic, any guest, if you know a name, if you want to look up pit bulls, you can. If you want to look up Jane Goodall, you can. Lots of information to be had there, but pit bull is just kind of a basket term for a dog that might fit a certain profile or look a certain way. In the past, I've had two, and honestly, they didn't even look like the same species. Yeah. One looked a lot like a cow, a miniature cow, and one looked a bit like a gargoyle. Yeah. So you can't really, you can, and they, I think rescues, Hillsborough County and specifically, have gotten away from that basket label for dogs because it doesn't do them any good. Some dogs, I think, with their high energy, their muscular build, their strength, you know, they do require special handling and special, maybe a little bit more of an inside knowledge. But for the most part, they're mutts that kind of look a certain way.
Yeah, unfortunately, And the term, you know, pit bull is, like you said, umbrella, because there are so many dogs that are labeled that aren't that. Like, I have a American Staffordshire. She's not a pit bull.
Right.
But they will label her as a pit bull. And, you know, it's just educating yourself on those breeds. Right. I think 3 years ago, I found out, I think the Boston Terrier is under the bully breed. I said, what? I said,
some little dog you can pick up and scoop up with one arm. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I said, no, this is it's the Terrier, you know?
Yeah, the Terrier. Yeah, I know we've talked a bit on this, Duncan's talked a bit on this show about the bully breeds and the labeling, and it's a lot of it's temperament, a lot of it's their treatment before they were unfortunately dropped off or picked up by animal control. Can you talk a little bit about we talked on the phone about behavioral issues and the support you're able to provide or direct people to find support if they foster or if they're adopting?
Always seek out if you have issues with behavioral issues, and it could be minor, just your dog not sitting or, you know, waiting. It could be small things, but those small things can turn into a bigger issue down the line if it's not attacked. And I'm not saying attack it, but if you're not on top of it, their critical time is literally before they're 6 months old. And it's amazing how in those 6 months they can learn to be a certain way, but they're also are still young enough to be corrected. I think my behavioralist told me one time till about 4-ish, but even though old dogs can learn new tricks, because I've seen that.
Yeah.
But to get on top of it, I always would, say get a trainer or a behavioralist to help out. I used the Pinnacle Center training, the Pinnacle Training Center, which is a husband and wife duo, and I had been following them for a little bit, but I just met up with them in about October. So it actually made it so much easier for me, even, build my confidence more with working with dogs, because I've been bit plenty of times, but they have helped me build my confidence with working with behavioral issue dogs. Even though I had a behavioralist, before them, because I have a solo dog that she went from, towering over other dogs to just a little growl. I don't want to be bothered. But with both, I've learned that dogs don't have to be friends. They just have to coexist. And the Pinnacle, they really, since I've been a rescue, they have really helped me learn the dog better. Because it's us.
Yeah, right. That we talked about that, the training the human.
Yes.
It's definitely us. I appreciate you saying that. Is there anything that you want to say or maybe touch on with the sponsoring or people pledging towards a rescue? I know that comes up on the Rescue Me site. Is that something that you feel?
My honorable pledgers, I love them because they actually honor their pledges, but I don't really pull dogs because of pledges.
Okay.
To be honest, before I was even able to be approved as a rescue partner for Hillsborough, I went and adopted the first 3 dogs and I just transferred them over to my rescue because I didn't want to see them go. Right. And that was Princess, Ace, and Blade. And they are doing wonderful. Like, actually, my trainers had to go to Blade to help him because Blade has issues. He has a little territory issues. He'll chase off dogs. I've seen him do that myself. But, maybe try to chase the cat. But I sent them to my foster to help her build her confidence so she can regulate him when he does stuff like that. And, they've already had one session. They'll go back for another session. But it's all about helping, you be confident about handling, even if Blade was her dog, you need to be confident that he is going to follow you as the leader and not do what he wants. So I try to get the dogs just to save them. Pledges have never, they help. I love the fact that people do follow through, but I don't do that for the pledges.
Okay. Yeah, but it's an option out there if you're, especially I like to think of myself. It's like I see something, I want to do something.
Yes.
Well, we'll send you a few dollars.
Yeah. And I used to pledge too. I used to pledge and, the dog I saved, send my money.
Well, we do that on WMNF. Where it seems like we're constantly raising money. And the one reason, I'll kind of backtrack on myself, I was so excited to have Tiffany in as a guest. She was not familiar with WMNF.
Yeah.
Was not familiar with Talking Animals. So we're getting to introduce each other to what we're up to. And Shelley was on at the beginning of her show. She talked a bit about independent media. And I want to give listeners an option or encourage them to go back and listen to the beginning of Shelley Reback's show, and also on WMNF.org. She was going to post her links to independent media where you can get as much untainted news that's available out there. And WMNF's proud to be part of trying to do fair media, unsponsored media, no financial subsidies going to anybody. We're all independent media, all Every voice you hear on WMNF is a volunteer, with exception of a small newsroom staff. People are here working all day to keep WMNF on the air. And like with Tiff, she's doing it out of the goodness of her heart. We're going to get back into your personal story a little bit. We're going to take a quick break while Tiffany and I reconvene on what we need to talk about before we wrap up. This is 88.5 WMNF Tampa. You're listening to Talking Animals. We're here with Tiffany Neal on Talking Animals, tiffspaccorp.com. We can't say enough great things about Tiffany, who I'm just getting to know today, but she's now part of WMNF's family, and we hope to hear more updates from her. We were talking briefly off mic about cats, so if you want to put in a good word for the feline species, please go ahead. Look at she's smiling.
Because I mean, I love my dogs. I do. But my cats they're so cuddly. Mm-hmm. You know, I have to update my website, tiffspaccorp.com. It's only me and my 2 kids that help. Well, my son now. And so I try to like update as much as possible. But I have a lot of cats and kittens. They're so clingy, and days that I have had, like the longest day, whether it's been working and running to pick my son up from work and then going back to work and then running to the shelter, you know, I go sit in my chair in that room and they just purr and purr and purr. I have one, he just likes to stroke my hair, and you know, I have one that bites on my hair. So they're very calming. They're so calming.
Do you offer any cats to foster or rescue? I mean, is that part of Tiff's Pack? Is the fostering of cats that you're taking in, or do you defer to other?
I take in a lot of cats. I have a couple I have a couple fosters for cats, but most of the cats come to me. I've only had a couple fosters for them, but because they have their own room, and you know, so I just pretty much fit them where I can. And
they found a home, it sounds like.
Regardless of, you know, if they're adopted or not, all of my babies at the house, the dogs too, they have a home. You know, even the pups, they get out frequently. I make sure they get out a lot just to stimulate them and, you know, get in those little training drills that my trainer showed me and stuff like that. But the kitties, they're so clingy, and I love them because, you know, nobody really wants the cat that don't want to be bothered. Right. I have those too.
I do too. If you don't mind me asking you a couple of personal questions, you're an independent business owner, which makes my heart sing. There's so many people that are involved with WMNF, and partially it's a time constraints, but we're all, a lot of us, including myself, are small business owners, and I know that you're a small business owner. That makes me smile. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I've been in the hair industry since February of 2000. I'm so old. But I don't know. I got into it. I have a lot of hairstylists in my family. So my cousin actually got me into it. I started out as a shampoo tech. So, you know, being a shampoo tech, you hear a lot from the customers. So in my head, I would take mental notes like, I'm not going to do this when I become a stylist. I'm not going to do this. It's just kind of like rescue. I sat back and watched, and I'm like, okay, this needs to be tweaked. This needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a research person. The only thing I didn't research was getting into hair, but when I got into it, I was just like, oh, they're their own independent people. And I was just like, okay. And I've been doing it ever since. Maybe even 15 years in, I'm like, I cannot believe I'm doing hair, because I'm a big tomboy. You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. You're. By the way, listeners can't see, but your hair's glorious.
Thank you.
They can see it on a Tiff's Pack on Facebook if they're so curious. But you said something about, I think, having your own business, and it doesn't matter what type of business it is, but you kind of learn people's personalities. You're interacting with a lot of different people.
Yes.
And I think that translates well to the animal world.
It does.
Right?
It really does, because, you know, of course, in business, you have to come across a lot of people. And I can tell you, in my 25 years of the hair industry, I can count on my hands if I've ever had issues, because I'm a people person. I am, and I hate to say that I'm a chameleon, but I have doctors that sit in my chair. I have lawyers, you know, all the way down to the person that works at Publix, or they just do Uber, you know, just to get, you know, extra cash. So I have a different variety of people who sit in my chair, and I love them all. So it's just like, when I do come across that, you know, complicated client, they usually, you know, I'm like, you know, maybe I'm just not your cup of tea, you know? And it's the same in rescue, you know? I try to, you know, cater to everyone, because I don't want people, I'm just a happy person. So I try to just keep it moving, and, you know.
I think people can hear the smile in your voice right now. So we're gonna wrap things up. Have you got any events or anything you'd particularly like to mention before we're done? Anything going on? Something that's happening out there that people need to know about with you and with your fundraising or whatever?
Yeah, I am fundraising. I was trying to reach my 5K match by the end of December, which started beginning of December. I had a generous donor want to match 5K if I got to 5K. That's the only thing I'm really fundraising for, just to, you know, catch up with what I have going on with the animals. I got a few spade and neuters, and, you know, just to keep up on supplies regularly. You know, I've had people post, well, if you took the animals, you should have the funds. Unfortunately, we are a nonprofit, and we have a license to actually beg you for money.
Right, there you go. That's that's a quote after my own heart here at WMNF. We try not to do that as much as we do, but it's part of being here, being on the air, paying the bills. Which is,
you got to pay the bills.
So mention your website and your Facebook page, and how people can help you if they're so called to do.
Yes, you can reach me on TiffsPackCorp.com or Tiffs Pack Corp on Facebook. And you can hit that donate button. It's right at the top.
Tiffany, I'm so pleased to meet you, and thank you for making the time today to come to WMNF. We're going to be friends.
Yes.
All righty.
Because you're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you, Rob.
And thank you, Duncan, for giving Tiffany the airtime today. Duncan is... I can't say enough about Duncan, and also to go to talkinganimals.net to look at his awesome webpage and couple of decades worth of interviews you can find there.
Yes.
We're going to say goodbye and see you soon. Thank you again. You're welcome.
Meow, 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 meow,
It's fun being a comedian. Work at night, have all day to have some weird days. Had a weird day recently, went to the podiatrist, then I adopted a kitten. That was my to-do list for a Tuesday. Finally found something cuter than my little toes. Little baby kitty cat. It's fun being a new cat owner, get to buy her stuff. I was on Amazon looking at cat treats. Found the brand of cat treat. There's a bunch of reviews next to it. Saw there was a 1-star review. I was like, ooh. I gotta read a 1-star review of a cat treat. This was the entire review. My cat didn't like this. How's that? Guys at his keyboard, I'm gonna keep this lean and mean. My cat didn't like this. I could just see that guy at home. Hey, Pockets, come here. Got some new treats for you to try. What do you think? Oh, you don't like them? Well, don't worry. Daddy will bankrupt the company. What? Just try a different brand. Don't be so petty. You don't be so polite, Pockets. I'm going to crush them.
Cause I'm his loving man. Bitch, I'm gonna have to hit you on the top of your head. Your bad dog's gonna miss you, and you wish that you were dead. My kitten alone. Yes, I love my little kitten, like you straight up love your mom. Gonna miss you, and you wish that you were dead. My kitten alone. Yes, I love my little kitten, like you straight up love your mom.
Hello, this is Austin with Chapters Health System with a public service announcement. Do you have a plan for your pet if you get a serious illness? Chapters Health System helps every pet-owning patient and family ensure their pet is well cared for through the Pet Peace of Mind program. From dog walking to vet services, with Pet Peace of Mind, Chapters Health has you covered. For more information, go to chaptershealth.org/pet peace of mind.
We wanted to play that little PSA. I was able to interview the folks from Pets Peace of Mind, affiliated with hospice in Central Florida. So if you are in need of their services, please check out Suncoast Hospice under lots of different names online. But the Pets Peace of Mind is the name of that specific service that they offer. I wanted to let you know we just listened to the Detroit Cobras, Leave My Kitten Alone, and before that we heard from Todd Berry, Adopted a Kitten. Thank you so much to Tiffany Neal for joining us today on this wonderful holiday, taking the time to come all the way from Bartow. We can't thank you enough for making the time, and also for the wonderful services that you provide. And we all know animals make our life a whole lot better, but sometimes we need a little help with that. Tiffany Neal can be reached at Tiff's Pack on Facebook, and also tiffspackcorp.com if you want to give her some encouragement this holiday season. We're going to leave you out. Oh, but first, I need to let you know, next week I'll be back with a guest who's yet to be determined, but I'm sure they'll be wonderful. And the following week on January 8th, Glenn Hatchell will be in talking about dog behavior and what's going on at the Humane Society of Tampa Bay. Until then, we're going to leave you with John Batiste. I think you'll recognize this one. He has a wonderful release called Beethoven Blues. You're tuned to 88.5 WMNF Tampa.
kid, I'd take a trip every summer down to Mississippi to visit my granny and her antebellum world. I'd run barefooted all day long.
Uh-oh, we're going to have to cut the Mississippi Squirrel Revival. Mario and Joe are next door with the conversation coming up right after NPR News. You've been listening to 88.5 WMNF Tampa with Tiffany Neal. And again, I'm going to thank you one more time because it was awesome of you to come in today. See you next week on the radio.
meow, 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 meow.